Hello, welcome back. Good to see you again. Good to be in the hot seat. And I've got Daryl Marie and Darren Burrows joining me for today's show. We make a trip to the Vaal, the country track. Good racing to be had. I'm going to dive into the betting for race number one. Favourite at the moment, in what looks to be quite a trappy start to the bar pot at 5-2, is number 1, Wilkies. Number 3, Dakota Cat at 3-1. 9, Universal Loves at 7-2. And it's 7-1 and better those. All right, I'm going to start with Darren Burrows. Darren, great to have you back on the show. What do you like in race number 2?
I like Dakota Cat quite a bit, Brandon, because she ran off Batula, who's come out to win a feature. She ran off Maxim Magician, who's decent. And last time out ran off Ivy League, who's won a couple since then. So her form lines are the strongest in the race. And I think she'll run well. I'm not saying she's worth a bet. I'm just saying she has the strongest form in the race. Now, Universal Love, I actually heard about her the day before she raced, and I actually tipped her. And the morning of the meeting, I was told that she's looking for 2,000 meters and can't win over 1,200 meters. So that's got to be my concern, that she's still over 1,200 meters, a filly looking for a lot further.
Yeah, look, I thought it was an eye-catching performance from Universal Love. If you go and watch the race again, she was all at sea. Didn't have a clue about it until that last 200-300 meters, where I actually think she was starting to get the hang of things. So 7-2 could be a decent price. Hello, Daryl. Good to see you. Is there anything you like over here?
Brandon, let's just touch on the false rail now. I don't know if you recall, Universal Love was drawn 1 when she made her debut. The grain was on the outside on that occasion. Now, the false rail is 13 meters in on the outside rail, whereas the inside rail is at 0. Does that mean they're going to be coming up the inside this time around?
That's interesting that you touch on that. I've obviously got my own opinion about all of that, but we'll have to see. We'll have to give the first race some idea. I don't think we're going to learn too much because race number 2 is probably still too early in the day.
Yeah, so I don't know what to make of it, which means Universal Love will be drawn on the wrong side if I'm reading it right. I don't know. But I think she is open to improvement. Excuse me, Brandon. This number 8, Princess, Fritty.
Fritty, yeah.
She's a half-sister to Shippers, who was very decent. I mean, she won, I think, 6 or 7 races over sprinting trips. Don't believe there's any market support for her in the anti-post market.
Was that for Mr. Woodruff?
Yes, that's right, yeah. Very decent. Dakota Cat, without a doubt, has the strongest form lines in the race, Brandon. Darren's touched on that. Form update for Wilkies. Now, she's proving to be very consistent, but she is limited. We know that. She ran 3rd, beaten beyond, C. Veloce. So I've gone 4 horses in the opening leg of the bar pot. I haven't taken any chances. I've gone all of numbers 1, 3, 8, and 9. But I'm interested to see where they're going to angle towards, Brandon. I've got a feeling they're going to go towards that inside running rail.
All right, let's put up those selections. Let's see what we're doing. It is the first leg of the bar pot. Like I say, watch your source Universal Love move down to the start. Still very green first time out, and I think you're going to see a big jump forward when it comes to race number 2. Daryl Marie's gone 1, 3, 8, and 9, by 13 and 16, by 5, 6, and 7, by Banker 7, by Banker 9, by 5, 6, 7, 8, and the spend is only 96 Rand. First leg of the Place Accumulator being a 9-race program. The favourites over here very short and continues to shorten is King's Ransom. 17-20. That's number 13. It's Gavin Larena for Candace Dawson. Number 12, John Wicks at 6-1. Circle of Grace number 5 at 7-1. And you're getting 8-1 and better those. All right, Darren. Short and sweet. Can we banker this in the Place Accumulator? I thought there was an eye-catching performance. First time out from King's Ransom. Would have learnt a lot back at home. Surely going to take a power of beating.
Definitely. I think he's worth a bet. I know he's currently 9-10 or even money, but still a decent enough price. He challenged Wyzak the final 200 meters, and he was alongside him for a long time. And then Wyzak just pulled away closer to the line. That was a solid debut, and if building on that effort, I think he'll win. There was support for him on debut as well, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, and I know there was a bit of talk for this horse, John Wick, first time out as well. I thought there was a nice performance from John Wick when running third. Atendiwa Goodwa gets the ride for Fabian Habib. And then, Daryl, I need to ask you about Davy Shaw's horse, number 14. But you watched that first run closely, was in it for a long way, but was still very green into the closing stages. I think you're going to see big improvement from number 14 at a decent price. I see 10 to 1.
Yeah, I don't know if you can reverse the form with the favourite King's Ransom. It was a fair enough debut. Brandon, what I find interesting over here is King's Ransom is drawn 18 or 17, very high. So if the better coins up the inside, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know. But I can tell you, Alistair was presenting on course that day, and he actually said in the preview, this horse will run a forward race, showing good work back at home, so it wasn't unexpected. He actually gave the favourite back as a scare for the 400 metres from home because he loomed up a big danger. So I obviously fancy his chances. I think he is the right horse in the race. I'm just concerned about the hard draw. If the better goes up the inside, I think there could be a slight concern for favourite backers. For that reason only, I have backed him up with a horse that he holds on paper in number 16 Royal Edition. I thought that was a fair enough debut. He's only 2 lengths behind the favourites, and he's drawn towards the inside. What I will say to viewers is if there is a scratching, and there will be because of the reserve runners, on race day, I'd advise them to put in the scratching to double up with the favourite. But currently, I've only gone numbers 13 and 16 in my perms, but I personally will be adding a favourite to double up. I mean, a scratching to double up with the favourite. So that's the way I see the race 3, Brandon.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Daryl. I think this horse going to take a lot of stopping. King's Ransom. By no means was it a shock first time out. I know when speaking to Alistair and the team, they do think quite a bit of this horse. So he should make that improvement to win over here. Let's put up those selections. It is the first leg of the place accumulator. Daryl Marigo on 13 and 16. He did advise if you want to and budget allows, maybe add in one of the reserve runners, being 17 Peak Predator or 18 To The King. By 5, 6 and 7, by Banker 7, by Banker 9, by 5, 6, 7, 8, by 1, 3 and 14, by 3, 4, 5 and 8. 288 Rand, that's the spend. Race number 3 goes off at 1 o'clock. The big one of the afternoon, it's pick 6 time. It starts in race number 4 and Mount Etna number 7, your 18 to 10 favourite. Number 6 Villa Samaya's at 5 to 2, the 5 Leonesses at 7 to 2, and it's 6 to 1 and better those. Remember, this is a pre-recorded show, so those prices are going to change. Mount Etna at 18 to 10. I'm going to go to Darren Burrows first. Darren, it doesn't look to be an overly strong race. I say that with all the respect in the world to the owners, trainers and jockeys. Is Mount Etna worth the bet at 18 to 10?
Brandon, you're right. It is a weak race. You got Mount Etna, only had the 5 starts, improving with each and every outing, should run well. You've got that form line behind Count Your Chances and Silver Sanctuary with numbers 5 and 6, Leonessa and Villa Samaya. They should also be competitive as the form is very weak in this race. Now, She's a Claver also ran against Count Your Chances. There was only a neck separating numbers 2, 5, and 6. So I've included 2, 5, 6, and 7.
The right way to play, I'm sure. Mount Etna for Dr. Malandi Talyat. I know that she's a big fan of the Weighted to Win team, and we're certainly hoping to give her the confidence here with Mount Etna, the 3-year-old Bay filly. Calvin Habib's doing really well, Daryl, since he's come back from Singapore. It's good to see that he's quickly jumped in. He's riding a lot of work in the mornings. He's riding a lot of winners. Is this the right horse?
She needs to jump on terms, Brandon. You can see she's got a tendency to get left at the start. But one thing's for certain, she's always finishing her races off, and that suggests that she should appreciate the step up in trip. Once again, I'm going to touch on the draws over here because obviously this is pre-recorded and I'm in the blind. But this number 6, Villa Samaya, now we know that Gavin Lorena rode, I think it was past the baton. and she ran second, and he got off her saying that he can improve Villas Maya. And that wasn't the case. But I think when he got off her, he said she's very one-paced. And I can see him jumping and making use of her this time round, because she is very fit. So I won't be surprised to see him try steal this race from the jump. So I think she is going to reverse the form with She's a Cliver and confirm the form with Leonessa. In saying that, I have gone all of numbers 5, 6, and 7 over here, but number 6 is my top pick, but not with a lot of confidence.
It's hard to give confidence, and you'd understand why. So let's put up those selections. Let's see what we're doing. It is the first leg of the pick 6, the bet we all want to catch at the end of the day. Darren Burrows is going 2, 5, 6, and 7 in leg 1 by 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, by banker 6, by fields, by banker 5. That's going to cost you 3,780 Rand. You can take a percentage. Race 4 goes off at 13.35. Let's go to the first jackpot, race number 5. This is the tab4racing.com maiden plate. It's over 1,600 meters. Scratched is number 6, Brotherhood of Magic, from this particular race. The market at the moment, the last I checked, Diesel Shadow, 2-1. That is still the case. Gavin Larena for Erico Verdenese. Number 7, the 4 Halberdiers at 5-2 with number 5 Breath of Magic, and it's 9-1 and better those. All right, Darren, I'm going to start with you. Diesel Shadow, 2-1. A horse that's getting better and better with racing. Is this the one they need to beat?
It does look the horse to beat. You know, that last form line behind Top Man, we saw Brotherhood of Magic come out to win. He does hold Insightful and Volta Fuss on that run. So 7's a runner. Then you've got Breath of Magic. That was a good last effort when stepped up in trip behind Copper John. He actually challenged the hot favourite that day, Copper John, all the way to the line. Halberdier, he's a new predator out of Winterheart. There's a bit of speed in that pedigree. Let's see if he gets the mile. He'll be competitive if he does. So 4, 5, and 7 in no order.
Okay, yeah, I think big respect for Breath of Magic. There was a nice run last time out from the 3-year-old Bay Colt. Calvin Abib gets the ride for Fani Bronkhorst. Daryl, Diesel Shadow, that last one we saw Brotherhood of Magic come out of the form line. I must be honest with you, I don't think it was the strongest of races. Fushimi Inari is the horse that was scratched, which opened the door for Brotherhood of Magic. What do you make of the race?
Yeah, I like the fact that he's improved since being rested. Okay, so he put in a moderate debut. That's number 7, Diesel Shadow. He needed his comeback start. He showed good improvement in his second one after rest. He's now having his peak run. Racing fitness is should be spot on. Stronger handling. He acts up the Vaal straight because it is a difficult event to win over, especially a mile. Brandon, on a line through I Spied, he should have the beating of Halberdier. So I'm not saying he's worth a bet, but I bankered him both in the PA and the bar pot. So I've taken my chances, but I do think he's the right one, especially with stronger handling in the irons. He hasn't been favorably drawn in his 2 comeback starts. You know, he's been drawn 1 on both of those occasions, and the grain was on the outside in both of those races. So Diesel Shadow, I think he'll definitely finish in the top 2.
He's a gorgeous looking horse, this Diesel Shadow. You'll spot him a long way from home. Let's go and see what we're doing in terms of selections. Let's put that up on the screen. It is the first jackpot, and Darren Burrows is going 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. By 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. He's going to bank a 6 in leg 3, and then field at the back. 945 Rand, as you know by now. I love the jackpots. Give this a full go. 10 past 2 is the off time, and this race is up the straight over 1,600 meters. Second jackpot starts now in race number 6. I just want to have a look and see what the market's doing in what looks to be a trappy race. Race number 6, the 3 or Supreme Dance 9-2. 1 River Romeo is 5-1. The 8 Bob's Your Uncle's at 5-1. It's 11-2 and better those. Just looking at form lines. And just before I do touch on that, For Racing thanks and appreciates Brett Warren. Small yard, but a wonderful man, and I'm hoping that he can win the race with his very own or Supreme Dance. I'm going to start with you, Darren. Darren, a very open race. It is the start of Jackpot 2. Can you help us?
Open race, Brandon. I'm not going to be of much help, but I can tip 5 runners to include. Now, River Romeo. He ran in the Daily News behind See It Again, beaten 4 lengths. He was thrown in the deep end. He ran a cracker. His rating, he did get a massive penalty. And he did drop 5 points from his last start. He still carries 62 kilos, but he's not a bad horse. Top Sale, his best form has come over 2,000 meters, was in need of the last run. Supreme Dance, very capable. Gavin Arena gets on well with him. He could bounce back. You've got Bob's Your Uncle not striding out last time out. If everything goes according to plan with bottom weight, he could run well. And one more to include African Torrent if bouncing back, but he hasn't lived up to his reputation.
Yeah, it's a trappy race. Good friend of mine is Mano Pandaram, and he's got number 1 River Romeo, the 4-year-old bay gelding. Obviously been thrown into the deep end his last 2 starts, but it just shows you obviously what they think of the individual. Now that he's back at his right sort of class, he must have some sort of a chance, Daryl. I know 62 kilograms is somewhat a concern. I haven't actually spoken to Mano just yet. We know this is pre-recorded. I will try and get the lowdown on race day from Mano to see how he's doing back at home. But he's a beautiful looking horse. He's got that rating of 102. Must have some sort of a chance.
Yeah, it's a handicap, so all of these horses have got a chance. Right now, I do believe the pace will be on over here. You got River Romeo, you got the likes of Twin Turbo, Bob's Your Uncle. So I think it will be run at a genuine pace. Excuse me, Brandon. What price is number 9 African Torrent?
If you like a bit of African Torrent, 15-2.
7.5 to 1. I think that's an unbelievable price. When I marked up this race, Brandon, I thought he'd be in the region of 28 to 10, 3 to 1 favourite. I made him favourite. Can't believe his current price. Let me just tell you why, Brandon. You know, this is the horse that they try to rush to get into the Derby, and I think they've admitted that they rushed him and it didn't quite suit him because after the Derby he disappointed and they put him away. I've been very impressed with his 2 runs after the rest. You know, in his comeback starts he needed it, and he took a bump at the gates. And he was on the back foot thereafter on the inside track. He just couldn't make it up. Now, if you watch his later start, his second run after layoff, I mean, Perfect Witness was weighted to win on that occasion. He came out slowly. They gave him a chance. And he was really doing his best work late. He actually caught my eye. And I said to myself, the next time he runs, I'll get on. And I think they've found the perfect race for him. He's having his 3rd run after a layoff. He's got the 1 draw. He's got 52.5 to shoulder. And he's come further down in the ratings. I think we're going to see the best of him. I can't believe his current price. And then I have no doubt he's the horse to beat in this lineup.
Daryl's got float. He's going to go and get on for us.
Get on.
7.5. 8-1. I don't think you'll get that price when Daryl Marie's finished, but he likes African Torrent. Let's put up those selections. Let's see what we're doing in this particular race. Like I said, just for the viewers, I am presenting on the day, so I will try and get the well-being of River Romeo as well. So African Torrent is going to be Daryl Marie's win bet. You can take as much of it as you like, but he is shocked and he can't believe, as the show is pre-recorded, that you're getting 7-1. Let's go to race number 7. The favourites over here for the 4racing.tv merit rated 75 handicap. It is over 2,000 metres. Is Nothing Else Matters 3-1. The 6 Toi Cut at 9-2. The 1 Year My Sunshine 5-1 at 7-1 and better those. Darren, you're the perfect man to speak to, because before we started recording the show, you said to me, boys, I've got a horse for you. It runs on Thursday. It races in the Hollywood Bet Syndicate Silks. And the name is Twa Twa Cut. You're getting a decent price, 9-2.
Yes, Brandon, I'm excited to see this horse back in action. They stepped him up from a mile to 2,400 some time back, and he didn't see out the trip. His optimum trip is probably 2,000 meters. Now, his second run after a rest at Scottsville, he turned into the straight second last. He made up the ground within a matter of strides, hit the front. He had one challenger on the outside. The jockey changed whip and he quickened again. He showed that he's actually got a lot of ability and he's not going to end up a one-time winner. Mike de Kock was interviewed and he said he could be a nice horse for the future. So in this type of race, off a 74, I believe he's well ahead of the handicapper and we're going to see a massive run. I thought he's worth a bet. I did suggest a bet for 500 Rand, a win bet on Twa Twa Cut.
Lovely. That's the confidence we need at the end of the day. Wear your heart on your sleeve. You're getting a decent price, 9-2. Daryl, what do you like in the race? There's a few hard hitters. You've heard the confidence from Darren. Are you also on this horse, Twa Twa Cut?
Yeah, you have to sit up and take notice when a trainer like Mark de Kock says this horse has got a future and you can follow him, and those were his words. So he could be well ahead of the handicapper. He's certainly a different horse since returning from a layoff. I respect him. River Romeo's Magic, number 5. Gavin on this horse you can never discount. He gets the best out of him. He gave the runner 8 kilograms last time out, and he ran him down. So I'll give him a chance of a year. Nothing else matters, Brandon. Cheek pieces go on, tongue tie goes on. He has been disappointing on the high fault. I thought after his local debut he would have gone on with it. So there are a few equipment changes. Maybe gets the best out of him. Let's see how he goes. And then Flag Bearer, he had an unbelievable return after a rest. I mean, that was over a distance far short of his best. Flattened in his second run after a rest. He's having his peak run and it's a more suitable trip. I see the blinkers come off. So I think if you are playing wide and you're looking for a little bit of a result, I'd certainly suggest including number 8, Flag Bearer. But like Darren touched on this Twa Twa Cut, is that how you pronounce it?
I think that's the right word.
You could be ahead of the handicapper. Yeah, so all of numbers 5, 6, 7 and 8 for me.
Thank you to Daryl Marie. Thanks to Darren. Let's put up those selections. Let's see what we're doing in this particular race. Darren Burrows, very confident you'll get a big run for your money. He suggests that we're going back the source Twa Twa Cut. He's a 4-year-old bay gelding, and JP van der Merwe gets the ride for Mike de Kock. Good race to watch. It's race 7. It goes off at 3:20. The penultimate race is race number 8, and there's actually been a bit of support for this horse, Mini Coupe, number 1. Gavin Larena for Candace Dawson, 3-1 is the current price. 3 Fort Lauderdale's at 5-1. We're probably going to have to watch very closely right up until about 9 o'clock. As you know, that this is a pre-recorded show, so things can change, and I'm not sure that Fort Lauderdale take his chances. The 6 Sage Kings at 6-1 and at 7-1 and better those. All right, Darren, this race, Mini Coupe, I was actually working with Alistair Cohen the day he ran last time out, and he said next time this horse gets a 1400 meter race up the straight, we can probably take as much of it as we like. He gets that ideal opportunity. Will he get it right today?
I'm concerned about the 1400, to be honest. I thought he's a sprinter, 1200 meter horse. His dam was very speedy, a National Assembly filly. It all depends if he gets the 1400 meters. If he's held up for a run, maybe he'll give that finishing kick. Sage King, I was on him last time out. I thought the mile down the straight was perfect for him, but he is returning after a short break over 1400 meters. I made this race very tricky. If Fort Lauderdale takes his part, he must be a runner too, because he will stay the trip. Very hard. I played the field in the exotics.
Big if. like I said, just keep watching the scratchings page if Fort Lauderdale does take part, because I think he'll be a runner in a race of this nature. But we'll leave that up to Bar and Boertus. I know he puts the horse first, and if the horse came out of the race well, there's no doubt that he'll be lining up over here. But Daryl, this horse Mini Coupe, like I said, I did work with Alistair last time out. He was of the opinion that this horse 1400 meters down the straight, because he always tends to only get going that last 200 meters. Is this the right race for him?
I think it's a perfect race for him. Yeah, I mean, like Darren says, if he does get the 1400, it's a firm 1400. So Gavin, I do believe will suit him. But he does tend to give away start when the gates open. Brandon, he's always slow a length or two. That's a concern. Take note, we have to touch on Fort Lauderdale. Obviously, he did pick up a penalty for his victory. He got a 5 pound or 2.5 kilogram penalty. He's racing off a 79, which means he's set to carry 61.5 less than 2.5 apprentice allowance. If you watch that race, Brandon, he was actually extending at the finish, and that was a 1160. So I think the 1400 is certainly within his reach. A few runs ago, this horse beat Someday Maybe, who's still a struggling maiden. I know she runs, I think, in the second race, but I don't think she would have won by now. And he fell over the line that day with Calcium Munga Mayhew Munga in the irons. I thought he was going to battle, but look how well he's done in a handicap company. So he's improving. Let's see how the going is. By now we'll know, but there is a horse drawn towards the outside over here in the Chosen One. Now I've expected more from him, but maybe coming back to a 1400 could prove to be a winning move, because I don't believe he's in his place off a 60. I actually think he's capable of winning a race or two this also off that mark. So I've gone for numbers 1, 3 and 14 over here.
Yeah, I think just watch us or Sage King as well. Back up the straight. I know he's back from a break, but he could be effective. Let's put those selections up. It is the penultimate race. We'll pop that up on the screen for you to have a look at. Daryl Marie's going to suggest a double 1, 3 and 14 onto 3, 4, 5 and 8 at the back. You can take that for as much as you want. It's a tote double, so 1, 3 and 14 by 3, 4, 5 and 8. This particular race goes off at 5 to 4. All right, we go on to the lucky last. The favourite at the moment is Tuscan Gold, number 8 at 5 to 2. The 5 Lilmus Moneybags at 5 to 1. 2 Robert Burns at 11 to 2. Fully loaded number 3s at 6 to 1. And you're getting 7 to 1 in bets of those. All right, I'm going to go to Darren. Darren, Tuscan Gold, you can update your publications. Ran second to Fort Lauderdale a couple of days ago. That's your 5 to 2 favourites. Is this the horse they will need to beat in the last?
Brandon, he's got a big chance, but I still believe he's a 1,000-meter horse. You could see it last time out at Turffontein. He moved up strongly, didn't find extra the final 100. When they drop him back to 1,000, I'll have confidence. I like Lilmus Moneybags quite a lot. That's the only horse I marked in the race. She's back to best. She's got a big reputation. Her first run for the new stable was a winning one, over 1,000 meters. I believe 1,200's a perfect trip, as long as given a patient ride. I want to see her just sitting off the pace and given a late burst. She's got a great burst of speed late. And if covered up long enough, I think she'll run past this lot.
Okay, yeah. She does have an outstanding chance. She's 5 to 1 in the market. This is the 4 Racing. Thanks and appreciates your Visser. We wish JC and the whole team all the best. They got a number of runners over here. And I think when speaking to JC a bit earlier on last week, he told me that this horse Lollapalooza is doing nicely back at home. Francie Herald gets the ride. Daryl, what do you like in the last?
Yeah, I made it tricky, Brandon. Obviously, we have to touch on the form updates. Tuscan Gold ran second to Fort Lauderdale, and the horse that disappointed in that race, I don't know what you made of that run, was Fully Loaded, because I was of the opinion that he's going to reverse the form with confirm that form with who was it?
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, but that wasn't the case. I mean, he was the first horse beaten. I don't know if he's going to line up. That's Fully Loaded, but I'm still of the opinion that he's better than that effort, Brendan. Strictly on form, this horse Alabama Anna must be a player. You know, if Tuscan Gold does line up, she's going to have the perfect lead because she's drawn alongside him. And, you know, penultimate start, she was over racing over the 1400. Then last time out of the 1200, the going was all towards the outside. Lollapalooza flashed up on the outside running rail. She was drawn 1 on that occasion. And she's better off at the weights with Little Miss Moneybags. But I'll give her a money chance, Alabama Anna. Little Miss Moneybags, I don't know what to make of her. I mean, on her day, she's very decent. She just needs to reproduce her latest victory, and she's certainly one for the shortlist, yeah.
All right, yeah, I think that's how we'll close off the meeting. Just from my side, Little Miss Moneybags really doing nicely back at home, and the yard are hopeful that she can obviously double that last one up and go and win again this afternoon. It's not going to be straightforward. She's got temperamental issues, but on her day she can certainly win a race of this nature. Let's put up those selections. Let's see what we're doing for the last race. It is the 9th and final. Darren Burrows suggests that we're going back Little Miss Moneybags. You're getting 5-1. Gavin Larena gets the ride for Robin Clarkson on the 4-year-old Bay filly. A big thank you to everybody out there. We hope that you've made some good cash. We'll chat again for the weekend racing. From all of us here at Waited to Win, be safe. Love to the family. Bye-bye.